your feedback, but also interesting, this comment you made about virtual reality, the Meta Quest or the Vive or whatever they're called, as being sensory deprivation. But like, when I hear sensory deprivation, I think of float tanks, and I think of like, wow, what a beautiful way to use a kind of technology to explore the human condition, which is to like create it's a kind of technology that allows us to go very deep within our sort of interior experience. And yet what you're saying with the virtual reality is this, like, it's a kind of sensory deprivation that's not entire deprivation. It's like we're siloing our sensory experience and then delivering in through that sort of like narrow channel content that directs our experience, rather than opening us up into this like a wide spectrum interiority or interoception, which opens our perception to ourselves, rather than sort of siloing it into this content delivery.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, I've done a lot of work with mixed reality and virtual reality. And if we think back to Second Life failed arguably because it was focused only on this kind of siloing. We tried to replicate shopping malls in Second Life, and it was kind of a huge, like, missed opportunity where we think, hang on a minute, is this all we can come up with? We're just going to replicate the real world in the digital world. And of course, there are excellent examples of cyber-delics that do act like sensory deprivation chambers or float tanks, as you said. But most of them are really kind of not amplifying our senses, or they're not amplifying our imaginations. They are replacing imagination with computer animation. And if we look at McLuhan and hot and cold media, the cold media are the radio shows and the books where you're filling in 70% of that visual with your own imagination, with your own co-creation. Whereas a typical CGI film or a typical VR experience is kind of doing all that for you. So it doesn't really leave open this kind of declarative space. It's very prescriptive. It's very much, this is the path you're going down. And in that sense, you switch off. It's like popcorn, you're just consuming. And so I'm very interested in how do we design these technologies? And I think mixed reality opens us to a new kind of opportunity where, of course, the world is still there. With Second Life, we deleted the world. And I think we delete a lot when we get rid of the world. With virtual reality, it's very hard to design it in a way that is going to totally put you into a transformative we have transcendence and inscendence. And inscendence is this going into the world. And I've seen excellent examples, even from my co-founder at the cyber-delic Nexus, Jose's work, where he, with Virtual Awakening, I've seen shaman going into those sort of focused explorations of death, powered by VR, not powered by anything psychedelic, that have led to those shamans, crying, like seeing them come out, needing some sort of integration process to really understand what they've experienced there. So it can be done. And of course, there are great examples, but it's very, very rare. So I think the design of these technologies needs to be very human-centric, not technocentric, and leave room for us to add to those experiences.
Yeah, I think if I'm correct in what I'm hearing you say, you're speaking to, there are technologies that will help, certain aspects of human cognitive potential or human experience, help those aspects flourish and expand and develop, where there are other forms of technology that do it for us to the point that those capacities either don't develop, say when your brain is in its developmental phase and you don't use imagination and you're not bored because you're constantly having entertainment streamed into your brain at all times. Either so we don't develop it, or it starts to atrophy.